Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In this video, I am going to be answering a handful of questions that I have received in various comment sections, and they've been questions that haven't warranted a full-length video. They'll take typically 3 to 5 minutes to answer, and I thought I'd group together 4 or 5 of these questions. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things. Whether you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on high quality, under the radar brands, or you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying better quality from the get-go, then my content is geared towards you. I am interested in hearing your perspective on the concept of shopping for pre-loved luxury items. Personally, I would love to know if you engage in this practice. I'm a huge fan of the pre-loved market. I think it makes incredible sense. Once you've enjoyed something and you're done, instead of throwing it away and adding to landfill issues, pass it on to somebody else who is able to buy it, enjoy it, until you actually get to the life of the product. I'm a huge fan of that and an advocate and say, buy better, buy less. When you're done with something, you're bored with it, pass it on to somebody else. Have I done it personally? I've done it once before. I bought a pair of shoes from a charity shop in St. John's Wood. I had a friend who was running the store, and what happens with certain brands is instead of sending all of their stock, for example, to outlets or discount malls, for example, they will donate some of the products to charity stores, and then they can sell the products as new. Essentially, it's stuff that may have been tried and it didn't actually leave the store, but it wasn't sold. And so there was a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes, a pair of pumps, part of their core collection, and I hadn't been able to find them in the color and size I wanted, and I purchased the shoes so I could test out Jimmy Choo for quality, for comfort, for balance, and so forth. But it's not something I have done ever since, and that's because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you will know I'm a huge advocate of buy better, buy less, not only professionally, but also in my personal life. And one thing I have worked hard to do for the last 25 years is maintain my health. I've been pretty much the same size for the last 25 years from early 20s. And I've fluctuated between a 6 and an 8. So I essentially have been the same size, and I have a lot of clothes that I've been wearing for many, many years. Once I'm done with something, I always donate it to charity. I'm not buying clothes as such because I've bought a lot of timeless pieces over the years. But what I do now is I buy pieces once, twice a month, every few months, to try out brands for quality, longevity, performance, and so forth. And so I'm not buying a lot, and when I do, I'm buying to test something out. If I don't like it, I send it back, and when I'm done with it, I will donate it to a charity shop. But the things I'm buying now, I anticipate using them for many, many years to come, because I want to see how certain brands, your high quality, under the radar, a lot of brands that many people don't know about. And before I talk about them, I'd like to test them. But something I'd like to add on to this pre-loved conversation is this whole concept of the rental market. It's something I've toyed with, but I've struggled with the fact that the rental market is coming from the perspective of not wasting, buying something, enjoying it for an event, an occasion, whatever it may be, and then returning it to the store, and somebody else can enjoy that same dress. But what I can't seem to get my head around is the fact that when you rent something, when you return it, they do have to clean it, the chemicals that are being used to clean the products, and then also the carbon footprint, sending the products all over the country, or possibly in Western Europe, for example. So you have that carbon footprint racking up and also the chemicals that are used to clean the products afterwards. Because when there are numerous clothing items I have, and I don't necessarily wash them or dry clean them after each wear. I may wear them a handful of times, or I may never clean them, but I wear the item so occasionally, I don't actually get it cleaned, and therefore you don't have the chemical implications where chemicals are being used, they're leaching into the system and so forth. So it's something that I've often thought about, and I thought I would ask, is this something other people think about, the whole rental market and the other negative associations that maybe some people don't think about? But as much as it's meant to be something positive, there are negatives, and I feel it outweighs the positive, and therefore I'd be more inclined to go with pre-loved. Find something you like, wear it, enjoy it, and then pass it on to someone else, or retire it for a bit and then wear it to another event. I forgot to add, when I was talking about whether I participate in the pre-loved market personally, when it comes to handbags, as you know, I'm focused on high quality, under the radar brands. So a lot of the brands I really like and would buy, Joseph Duclos, Moynat, Delvaux, Colombo, Moreau, for example, I have yet to see any of their bags in pre-loved stores, for example. I do see the lower level of luxury bags, Kate Spade, Coach, Dance Lante, I've seen recently, Totes, Acne, for example. But as I always say, buy the very best you can afford. I'm at that age now where I'm focused on buying a bag that I'm going to keep for the rest of my life. It's ultimately going to be an heirloom. And so I'm going for products that are typically going to be bought brand new, not necessarily from the pre-loved store, because I've yet to see a lot of the brands that I talk about, and I'm not saying they're not there, but the numbers are incredibly low. Can you discuss the care of boxed calfskin to develop the patina you reference so often? Well, it doesn't need any care. Literally just carry the bag and enjoy it. And I feel bad because the viewer specifically said, I'm afraid to carry it for fear of ruining it. Please don't be scared of your bags. Yes, don't be heavy-handed. Don't drag the bag through a hedge, for example. But just enjoying the bag is more than enough. And whether it's boxed calfskin or a smooth calfskin from Moynat, or the heritage from Joseph Duclos, or Berenia from Hermès, there are a number of smooth calfskins. It's essentially the smooth calfskin. So it could be box, it could be heritage, and so forth. And it's a leather that has been naturally tanned, vegetable tanned. So they have stripped very little of the natural oils from the skin. So it's able to develop the patina beautifully. Enjoy the bag. Don't spray anything on the bag. If it gets wet, just dab it dry and leave it somewhere out of the sunshine, away from heat, to just naturally dry. I'm going to attach a video above where I talk about how to care for leather products, not just bags, but leather across the board. You don't need to do anything but enjoy the bag. But what I would add, and I've mentioned in the video, is get a soft, fluffy white cloth. I say white, so it's not something with color that can potentially go onto the bag, but just a soft, fluffy cloth. Every so often, just give it a polish. And that just helps with maintaining the bag, but don't spray anything, don't put any oils, any wax. Just let the bag over time develop the patina, and it'll do that as you carry it. And for example, the natural oils from your skin going onto the bag will contribute, but just the wear and tear, enjoying your bag, you will develop the patina over time. You don't need to do anything but just enjoy the beauty and the craft of your bag. And please enjoy your bags. Don't be afraid to enjoy the bag. If you do get a scuff, as I always say, again, the soft fluffy cloth, just gently fluff over the scratch, the scuff, the mark, and it'll soften. But it all depends on how deep a mark it is. But enjoy your bag, and the patina will just develop naturally without you having to do anything. Could you do a video on bespoke shoe brands? That would be extremely informative. Also, I would love your opinion on Carolina Herrera's shoes, specifically their sling bags. Well, firstly, bespoke shoes is something I've wanted to talk about. There are two brands that I'm aware of in the United Kingdom, specifically in London, and they are focused primarily on bespoke shoes. One of the brands literally fell off the radar, but it's come back on the radar. And the second brand, I'm struggling to get through to them. As and when I'm able to get through to both of them and put together all the information, I'll be more than happy to create a video, and possibly maybe just on those two brands. There's a third brand I'm aware of in the United States, but at this point, I'm not too sure when I will be in the United States next year. So please be patient, bear with me. And as and when I know when I'm traveling, and I'm sure over time I'll come across maybe one or two other brands, maybe in Europe, maybe in the United States, maybe even in Asia. I will definitely talk about bespoke shoe brands. The bit about Carolina Herrera, fantastic brand, high quality, under the radar. You hardly hear much about Carolina Herrera, and I really like that brand, and I'm glad you asked the question. Went into one of their boutiques in London a couple of weeks ago, but all the boutiques in London and in Europe do not have slingbacks in my size, a 35. The brand are aware I'm interested, and in a few weeks' time, we'll revisit and they'll try and locate a pair of slingbacks for me in size 35 that I can take a look at, try on, and get a good feel for the brand, the comfort, the construction, and so forth. And I'll let you know in due course. And I've actually looked at Carolina Herrera bags as well. They have a tote that I've seen and I really like. And I just think this is such a fantastic brand that very few people talk about. Very similar to Ralph Lauren that I've spoken about in the past. I'm going to attach the video above. So maybe at some point next year, I will talk about the slingbacks and then throw in some of their bags and so forth. But please bear with me. I will produce content as and when I'm able to get hold of the products. I was just wondering the other day how you think luxury leather goods might adapt for the future. With the rise and development of vegan plant-based leather, I saw a buttery soft item just the other day, and the increasing use of cell phones over cards and money. Do you think there'll be a place for these beautiful items in the future? I'd love to hear your personal opinion on such matters. Gage, thank you for your question. You always post really interesting questions. I actually have a couple more of your other questions that are going to come up in the next few weeks. So please bear with me. I'm working on that content as well. But coming back to this particular question, vegan leather is something we're going to see increasingly more and more of. As brands become more socially, sustainably focused, and consumers become more demanding and discerning, we're definitely going to see more brands either embracing vegan leather as part of their core offering, or brands coming up, particularly direct-to-consumer online brands, producing products made specifically from vegan leather. Up until, I would say, the last year, this year has been really hot for vegan leather when I've been paying attention to what's going on. Up until then, the last 5, 6, 7 years, there have been a number of brands focused on vegan leather. There are possibly 3 types of vegan leather. And what you found up until now is various vegan brands would have plastic in their vegan leather. And so it meant it's not biodegradable, but the vegan that up until the last year that was currently available, the look, the feel, the wear and tear just didn't ultimately compare to leather. In the long run, you'd notice the difference between leather, genuine leather, and vegan leather. But now the game has totally changed. And this changed a few months ago. I remember the first time I heard that Hermès was producing a range of bags made from mushroom leather. And I literally shot, my attention was piqued, and I thought, oh my goodness, for Hermès to do this, they have done their research and they're supremely confident when it comes to their source. Any brand that is a supplier to Hermès for any of their luxury products, it speaks volumes about this brand, because Hermès is not a brand that would engage with a supplier that is average. It's a supplier who's typically providing the very best. There's a brand called Works, an American brand that recently collaborated, and I'm sure this is an ongoing collaboration with Hermès, and produced a range of vegan leather. Range I think is called Sylvanian. I'll include the name. And it's made from mycelium, but an enhanced mycelium, a fine mycelium. It's mushroom leather. And what Works have produced is a vegan leather that looks, it feels, it performs, and it has the longevity of leather. And it's also biodegradable. It's a supreme quality of vegan leather that compares very confidently, like for like, with genuine leather. And for Hermès to collaborate with Michaelworks and produce Sylvania, it speaks absolute volumes. So this is something that is very much going to be a catalyst for other brands to sit up, pay attention, and really start thinking about, because there is the space in the market for vegan leather. Increasingly more consumers are going to be demanding it. So it's something I definitely see we're going to see more of, and improved quality when it comes to vegan leather. When it comes to your question about wallets, well, I don't think wallets will ever become extinct as such. When it comes to your question about cell phones and wallets and so forth, people are using cell phones. So for a start, brands will start producing. I remember Joseph Duclos, I was in their showroom and seeing a beautiful phone case. You'll see increasingly more companies investing in beautiful, exquisite phone cases, because increasingly more people will be using their phone to pay. But I actually don't think we will see wallets becoming extinct. They may become smaller. I think they will become smaller, but phones are not faultless. You might run out of battery. You might be in a zone where there isn't mobile connectivity. I have had that issue. You may lose your phone, for example, or you may just be somebody who's old-fashioned, who wants to carry their card and a bit of cash with them. So there'll always be that space in the market for wallets. They will just decrease in size and in quantity, but they will always be there. And I think we'll just see more and more emphasis on exceptional phone cases. Perhaps you may have done this already, but I would love to see a video talking about age in relation to handbags. It's probably a difficult one to tackle, given many folks would argue that one could wear any bag at any age. But I would be very interested in your thoughts and recommendations. Have crossed the 50 threshold and I'm getting sensitive, right or wrong, to age-appropriate attire and accessories. When I saw this question, my heart smiled, because what the lady said, unfortunately I don't know her name, I just have two initials. She addressed a topic, sentiment, thoughts I've been having for a very long time. Rightly or wrongly, as she said, there's attire, there's accessories for a certain age. I'm at that age, as you all know, 46, where there's certain things that I wore in my 20s and 30s I'm just not comfortable wearing anymore. And sometimes I do wear them at home and not out as such. And whether we want to accept it or not, people judge us from how we look when they see us. Their first impression is created when you go to certain events and you are attired in certain items, which I just don't think are appropriate. So this is a topic that I have been wrestling with personally and professionally for a very long time, and thinking, how do you address this? Because there's some people who are like-minded and some who are not, and the intention is not to offend, but just to bring together ideas, discuss and grow together. So this is something I look forward to talking about, and I'm still trying to think what would be the most productive way to address it. When I saw this question, I was already thinking to myself, I have referred a few times to 7 bags you typically need in a collection, depending on your taste, lifestyle and budget. I'm going to attach that video above. And I was actually thinking to myself to create a series of videos where I put together a selection of 7 bags based on a particular budget, your lifestyle, whether you're young or old and so forth. And then also spilling that over into clothes, because clothes are something that, rightly or wrongly, I don't watch certain channels because I just think, I don't think you're appropriately attired. You are teaching us about something, but you are showing excess cleavage, or you're wearing something that's just too short and tight, and it's not appropriate for a particular event or an image you're trying to create. So this is a really interesting topic, and I'd really like to engage with people, typically an older crowd, my sort of age and above, the lady who is 50. But the handbags, I'm game. When it comes to attire, it would be great to have conversations and create content as well going forward. So that's, I think, 4 or 5 very quick questions with my thoughts as I have been requested. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of the questions that I've answered. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or bring in a different set of variables, something for us to consider that I haven't considered. As always, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.